What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Classic Octane. I am Taylor. Today is the day we are taking the Triumph Hardtail on its maiden voyage. So this is it in its final form. Only thing I have left to do is to make a little license plate bracket. This is going to be super simple. It's going to put the license plate kind of right underneath that brake light. But assuming the test ride goes well, this thing's just about ready to go home with the customer. What do you say we cold start it? Tickle the carbs a little bit. Should be good to go. Alright, we're ready to go. It's been a while since I did a motovlog in my helmet, so hopefully the audio and everything is working well. Every time I go on a longer, on a first test ride, I take my backpack with me that I take on adventure rides. It's got like a bunch of tools, it's got a fire extinguisher, it's got, you know, multimeter, it's got all kinds of stuff so that if we do encounter any issues, hopefully I'll be able to fix them on the side of the road and I won't have to embarrassingly call my wife to come pick me up. Which I have had to do before, so I'm going to take it out and we'll see how she goes. So I'm taking it pretty easy so far. It's going decent, except for I'm getting a decent amount of sputtering. You guys can hear that. Only on light throttle. So if I give it a little more throttle, it'll kind of push through it. See right there, if I downshift, it's completely fine the higher RPMs. So we'll have to look back, we'll have to look into that when we get back to the shop and see. I haven't actually done a ton of tuning on these Amal style carbs. I'll probably pull apart the carbs on my Hardtail, because that bike runs fantastic, and just see what size jets and everything are in there and just try to, you know, match all the mixture screws and kind of just set them up exactly like mine, since I know that is the exact same engine as this, and that bike, like I said, runs great. Back from the test ride, and yes, I am a spoiled brat with my garage door closed and my air conditioning running, because it is full-blown summer here in Texas and it's hot AF outside. Overall, the test ride went well. I'm not sure how well the audio turned out on the GoPro, but idle's great, rides well, it's remarkably smooth. For a hardtail, goes straight down the road, it stops decent. You do have to give it a good amount of pressure to actually get it to stop, but that's just a 70s motorcycle with one caliper. Only issue I found on that ride is that kind of mid-range, I would say quarter to half throttle, we were getting a good amount of sputtering. What that points me towards is needle position. So my clip came off, but I saw it before it did. It was in the 2, 3, it was in the middle position. So what I'm going to do is lower it down one spot to this bottom position. What that's going to do is raise this needle up just ever so slightly, allowing just that much more fuel to come in. So if I needed to lean it out, I could drop it down one. That'll drop the needle down into the bowl and limit the fuel flow. So we're going to do that on both sides and take this thing back out and see how she does. What do you say we see if this needle position change makes any difference for us? way too rich now. So I'm sorry if this video jumps around a little bit. What I decided to do was actually go ahead and throw on the complete carbs from my Triumph, just so I can kind of eliminate the carbs and make sure we're not, losing spark, some kind of timing issues, something like that that's causing our problem. Kind of remove the carbs as a variable. What I found is when I put my carbs on there, the bike runs fantastic. It's super smooth through the whole power range. It's exactly like you would expect. So that got me looking into, okay, what's the issue with these carbs? These Amal carbs are incredibly simple. There's really not that much that can happen with them. After doing some research, I found out that these carb bodies can actually get pretty worn out over years of use, and it creates a very bad fit for the slides. So upon further inspection, this carb right here, the slide, super loose. It actually rattles around a lot in the body itself. It's a really, really bad fit. On this carb, it's a somewhat decent fit at the bottom, about 3/4 of the way up. The slide just gets completely stuck in there. So the bottom of this bore is kind of ovaled out and the top is still really tight. This one, the whole thing is just loose as can be. So after doing some research, we might be able to get away with just some new slides, but this really points me towards the bodies themselves are warped and are kind of unevenly worn in. So what we decided to do, this particular customer, we've already gone this far with the bike. We have a brand new set of Amal carbs that just came in the mail. Here they are in all of their shiny, beautiful glory. I went ahead and rejetted these. I put 220 jets in them, which is exactly what I run on my personal bike. I also went ahead and got rid of the choke because we're not going to be using that on this bike. And I think that's it. Everything else, I changed the orientation of this fuel inlet. They were both kind of pointing out to what would be the right side of the bike. I want them pointing towards the center just for a little bit cleaner look. Other than that, these things are exactly how they came out of the box. So what do you say we put them on the bike, see how it runs? All geared up, ready to go. Gonna head towards my favorite test ride route. See how she does. Well, I'm on my favorite little test ride route, and the thing is buttery smooth. Surprisingly smooth riding as well for being a hardtail. I mean, I'm going almost 60. It's really not that bad. I mean, certainly not a bike you're gonna do cross-country tours on, but as a little bar hopper, I do need to turn the idle down a little bit, so we'll do that when we get back to the shop. But for now, I'm just gonna keep putting some miles on it. I'll take it back to the shop and give it a good once-over, make sure everything looks good. Rest of the test ride went exactly according to plan. You can hear a little bit of rattling. What I found out once I got back to the shop and looked at it, my horn was just barely contacting the bucket for the headlight. So I was able to just bend that little bracket, give us a little bit of clearance, and that immediately stopped that little rattling noise. So that was a quick and easy fix. And that's all I've had to do. Everything else stayed tight. All the clearances are good. I haven't run into any other problems. Like I mentioned a million times, the bike is now running exactly how it's supposed to. Cold starts well, idles well, goes through the RPMs. This thing is officially a cruiser. So I think we're going to be able to put the final stamp on this build, move on to the next one. So that's going to do it on the Triumph Hardtail series. The next video you guys will see is going to be a quick how-to on this CB500. It's a bike I finished up late last year, came back for a couple of new parts, and I ended up doing a quick how-to on that. So you guys will see that next. Then we are on to the big boy R100 GS. All of the parts are here, so we're going to start to dive into this thing early next week. So you guys will see a video on this very soon. I hope you guys stick around for that, and I'll see you then.